This Town of Adams Board of Selectmen's meeting is now in session, Wednesday, August 1st, 2018. Would you all please join the board in pledging the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The board has several sets of minutes to approve. The first set are more recent, June 27th, July 11th, and July 18th, 2018. And everyone here can vote. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve them as submitted for the June 27th, 2018 meeting, July 11th, 2018 meeting, and July 18th, 2018 meeting.
Motion by Christine.
Second.
Second by Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Unanimous decision. The next set is, we are going through old minutes. We are cleaning them up. Joe, myself, and Rick can vote on these. Jim and Christine cannot, according to legal counsel. This is September 12th, 2015, October 17th, 2015, October 24th, 2015, and November 14th, 2015. I believe majority of these were the meetings we had up at the high school, strategic planning type meetings. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we waive a reading of the minutes and approve them as provided for September 12th, October 17th, October 24th, and November 14th, all of 2015.
Motion by Rick.
I'll second it.
Second by Joe. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Yeah, I abstain.
All right, so we have 3 in favor, 2 abstentions. Public comment. Anyone in the audience who would like to address the board for any item that's not on the agenda?
Sorry. Haley Mesworth, Town Clerk. I'm here on behalf of the Treasurer's Office, who has taken this on. The tag sales for Adams is August 11th from 8 to 4. I want to let everybody know that there are 63 participants this year, and the maps are ready, and they're available. They're available here at Town Hall. They're going to be available at the library, the Council on Aging. We have some at the police department as they're 24/7. So if you're up in the middle of the night and you want to go pick up a tag sale map, feel free. And they'll be at a few businesses, and it is on the town website already. So in case anybody wants to go ahead and download it, they're more than welcome to. So I just want to let everybody know, tag sale is rain or shine. It's August 11th, 8 to 4, and there's 63 tag sales here in town. So happy bargain hunting.
Thank you, Haley. Anyone else from the audience who would like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Officer Honorado from the illustrious Adams Police Department here in town. I just want to let everybody know that we're having the National Night Out this coming Tuesday, August 7th, from 5 to 7 p.m. on Hoosick Street down by the Visitor Center. We're going to have food, games, a DJ. It's geared kind of around public safety information, so we're going to have the Adams Police Department, Adams Ambulance Service, Adams Fire Department, Forest Wardens, the Elizabeth Freeman Center. We also got the Berkshire Scenic Railway is going to be doing free rides down to Cook Street and back. We are going to have a raffle, touch a truck. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on, so it should be a good event. It is a national night out. All the surrounding towns are doing the same thing, so it should be a good time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you.
I just wanted to thank Officer Honorado for his work on the National Night Out event. He's been working with the Northern Berkshire Community Coalition to put this event together, so thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to address the board? Okay, hearing none?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Good evening. My name is Richard Tavelli. Tonight I'm representing the Adams Arts Advisory Board, and ladies and gentlemen, I have good news for you. something light and bright. You may remember some months ago you approved a facilities use permit for the Adams Arts Advisory Board to host the 2018 Music in the Berkshires Painted Piano Project. Well, through these many months, through heat and cold and many weather factors in between, the artists have come. We have now decorated some 16 pianos that have been distributed throughout the entire county, and I wanted to show you some of the good benefits that have come from this endeavor. As you know, the Adams Arts Advisory Board was set up to help promote interest in the creative economy and to help boost economic development through creative artwork and public arts throughout the county. Well, I have here, and I will leave these with the town administrator's office to be distributed, but these are maps showing each of the different pianos where they've been placed, and also the artists that have been doing them. As you know, through some shrewd negotiations, the town of Adams was granted not one, but 2 pianos to be subsidized in this program. They are currently on display at the Firehouse Cafe on Park Street, and they're open most days from 1 to 4 or 5 p.m. One of the pianos subsequently will be moved to nearby the train station, to the circle area that I call it, where the 4 benches are, and will be covered with a tarp, and we encourage people to come in for pop-ups and just to play the piano. They'll both be playable. And we in Adams are going to be celebrating with the first event at the Firehouse on August 11th. More details to come on that. But the point is that this is something that was initiated 2 years ago. We got involved with it because we thought it would be a good way to showcase Adams and to demonstrate once again that we are a major part of the creative economy and that we support the arts and there's interest in the arts and public education and having fun. So there is also a project that lists the whole program, and I will be giving you some smaller versions of these to inspect as well. But I want to note that among the sponsors, the non-commercial sponsors, the Town of Adams and the Adams Arts Advisory Board are listed first, and they've been listed first on every piece of publication that goes out, not just to us, but all across Berkshire counties. We have pianos placed from Sheffield to Williamstown, so it's a really big program. So if I may, leave these over here. I'm sure you can find some good spots. But I also, if I may, we have a kind of a limited edition brochure that highlights each of the pianos and each of the artists. And you'll see there are 3 people from Northern Berkshire listed in here, and maps showing where they all go. I think you got one this afternoon, but
Okay.
if not,
Thank you.
Thanks, Dick.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And if I may, we've had excellent coverage. 2 Sundays ago, there was a big color spread in the Berkshire Eagle. The iBerkshires has covered this well with pictures. And today, I have a copy of an article that was published in the Edge, which is an online publication based in Great Barrington that circulated throughout the arts and the culture community of the Southern Berkshires. And once again, in there, we are highlighted as being the host for this. So again, the town has been well recognized for this. And I'd just like to relate this to why this is important. Well, if you take a look on Park Street, we have 1 gallery opening now. We have Bohemian Road, which is an arts-oriented kind of shop that provides something that you don't find every day, unique things. We have 2 more galleries that are going to be opening, I'd say, within the next year, right here in Adams. So more and more, this is becoming a situation where people are coming in, investing money, buying properties, fixing them up, creating live workspaces, and offering arts to the world. So this is a major part of what we think is the ongoing economic development for the town. That concludes my speech. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dick. My favorite piano is the Waved piano by Henry Klein that is at the Firehouse Cafe.
Yes, it is, and you'll want to inspect it carefully because looking at it as it's set up, it looks just like there's a big wave of keyboard, but he's cleverly constructed it so that that part can be pushed and lifted back and you have access to the keys so you actually can play the piano. Very clever design. And that was done, as you say, by Henry Klein, who's a resident of Adams.
Great. How did the middle school work out for you and the artists?
It was a dream come true because it was a large building, as you know. We used the Valley Street entrance so they could roll the pianos right off the truck, one level, go across one small transom, and you got all these rooms. We actually used 3 different rooms so that we could give each artist a complete walk-around space, and they came in at different times. For security reasons, we had one of our hosts there whenever the pianos were going to be accessed by the artists. We had a little trouble because some artists have trouble reading calendars and their watches, but anyway, we got them in and out. We didn't turn down any requests for access to the building. For most of the time, it was pleasantly cool when the summer heat was outside. The DPW kept fans on to keep the air circulating, so it was, again, there's no one else in the county that was able to offer them that kind of space. And that allowed us to negotiate fairly hard with the Berkshire Music School about getting 2 pianos and getting our artists paid and getting the notoriety and the public notice that we have for the project. And virtually it's not cost the town or the board anything for all of this free publicity. So I think we've done well to enhance the awareness of art in Adams.
I agree.
County.
Any other questions from the board or comments? All right, thank you.
All right,
Good
thank
luck.
you. Oh, and again, August 11th, we'll have more news coming out about that. It's going to be an informal event. We almost want to call it dueling pianos, but say what.
Okay, sounds interesting. All right, anyone else? And I'll wait a second here to make sure everyone has their opportunity. All right, hearing none. The board will move on to new business. The first item under new business is the ratification of Reserve Police Officer Alexander Morse. Chief?
Good evening. Once again, I approach the board asking for their indulgence in ratifying a new appointment with the Adams Police Department in the form of a reserve police officer. Administrator Season and I sat down and conducted an interview last week with this young gentleman, Alexander Morse. I can say that I did supply a letter to the administrator, but just to give a background on him for those present and out there viewing. Mr. Morse he was originally from Buckland, Mass. He currently resides in North Adams. He attended Fitchburg State University, which is, I want to say State College, but now it's Fitchburg State University. I'm showing my age, I apologize. He attended Fitchburg. He received his bachelor's in criminal justice with a minor in history. He attended the Franklin County Reserve Academy, where he successfully completed and graduated that program. He's also had an internship with the Massachusetts State Police. He currently is in the security field. During our interview process, and I'm sure the administrator can speak in addition to this, we found him to be a very intelligent young man. They had many good answers, many thoughtful answers. He presented himself quite well. I think that he would be an outstanding representative of the police department and the town of Adams as a whole. And throughout the entire background process on him, the one thing that was spoken of by every single person Lieutenant Briggs spoke with during the process was that of character. They couldn't stress enough the value of his character and how upstanding a person he was. They had nothing but praise. It spoke volumes with the response that we received. And during the interview process, I believe that that was easily picked up on was his character. Like I said, I think that it brings a fine addition to the police department and to the town of Adams. And I respectfully ask the board this evening to ratify the position and make him a reserve officer. And he is present this evening, so I can call him up.
Sure. Doesn't mind.
Alex?
Donna, would you like to add anything?
Well, just as the chief said, Alex is a very impressive individual. It was a pleasure to interview him. His responses were really excellent, very thoughtful individual. So I'm very excited to recommend that he be ratified tonight by the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, and I will read the letter, and then the board will have an opportunity to speak. Dear Chairman Duval, this letter is to advise the Board of Selectmen that subject to the board's ratification, as provided in Section 10 of the Town Charter, Alexander Morse has been appointed to the position of Reserve Police Officer for the Adams Police Department. Mr. Morse will begin this position on August 2nd, 2018, contingent upon successfully passing and completing any hiring requirements of the Town of Adams, as at the Reserve Police Officer rate of $19.18 per hour. Sincerely yours, Donna Season, Interim Town Administrator. Well, welcome. I appreciate your interest in this, in the Town of Adams. Our police department, we're very fond of what they do. We support them, and I think we have a great department. Our chief does a excellent job in his leadership of that department. The board, any comments? Good?
Yeah.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we ratify Alexander Morris as a Reserve Police Officer in the Adams Police Department.
We have a motion by Jim,
I'll second.
and a second by Christine. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision, welcome. Congratulations, good luck.
Congratulations.
And if you could, just a few more moments, Town Clerk, congratulations. Town Clerk Meswar is here to swear him in.
Okay.
Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I
Hi,
state your name.
Alexander Morris.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will perform the duties of my office
that I will perform the duties of my office
as Reserve Officer
as Reserve Officer
of the Town of Adams,
of the Town of Adams,
faithfully,
faithfully,
impartially, to the best of your ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, back to the agenda. Next is the appointment of election workers. Town clerk, is she with us still? There
Yep.
she is.
She's coming back.
Dear Chairman Duval, it is that time of year again for the Adams Board of Selectmen that needs to appoint election workers for the upcoming year. There will be 3 elections this year, the state primary in September, the state election in November, and of course, our annual town election in May. I've notified the Democratic Town Committee chairperson, and I have notified the chairman of the Republican Town Committee for any of their input. Attached, and I believe to your agenda, was a list of election workers that we are putting forward. I would ask that you vote them in mass, the list that you have. This certainly needs to be done by August 15th, and this list will become effective September 1st.
Okay, thank you. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the list of election workers as submitted by the town clerk for a 1-year term effective on September 1st, 2018.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Rick, any discussion?
I would just ask that we open it up to the public, if there's any input.
Okay, any input from the public? Hearing none? Okay, no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous decision, and thank all of the election workers for what they do. They volunteer their time, I believe, so, and they do an outstanding job.
They certainly do. And I would just make a note that if anybody is interested in becoming an election worker, please feel free to contact my office, or if you do happen to come vote on September 4th, feel free to stop by our table and give us your name, and I can ask if you want to work a daytime or a nighttime shift. So anybody certainly out there that's interested, just let us know. I'd also ask that you just vote to authorize me to make any emergency election worker appointments in case that does happen to happen. It has never happened in the past, but you just never know what's going to happen. So that would allow me to not necessarily use somebody from the list that you just approved, but ask other people to become election workers if that were to happen for some strange reason out there.
Do we have a motion from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to authorize the town clerk to make emergency election worker appointments in the event that the appointed election workers are not available to work.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
Second.
Say Jim, second by Jim. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous?
All right, Chairman Duval, if you don't mind, if you just indulge me for one moment.
Sure.
August 15th is the deadline to register to vote for the September 4th state primary. I can't stress that enough. If you don't register by August 15th, then you certainly won't be able to vote in the state primary. Our office, my office, will be open late hours. We will be open until 8 p.m. on that day. So in case you are out there working and you can't get in, feel free to come in between the hours of the 5 and 8 that we're not typically open. And you certainly can register to vote online too by going to MassGov, Secretary of State's website. You can register to vote that way. And as always, you can register at the Registry of Motor Vehicles also. So, but certainly if anybody has any questions, feel free to call my office. We're more than happy to help you. And again, I can't stress it enough that we have a state primary. It is September 4th. It is the Tuesday after Labor Day. But, you know, we ask that y'all come out and vote if you can. And certainly if you can't come out and vote, we do have absentee ballots also. So if there's a reason why you can't make it on September 4th, you're going to be out of town, it's hard for you to get to the polls, we certainly understand that. Feel free to contact my office, and we'll get y'all set up with an absentee ballot.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Haley about the election workers.
Yes.
If I counted right, there are 79
Right.
election workers. How are they chosen for their duties? How do you make a decision who is brought in to do the work?
Well, typically it's been the core group.
Yeah.
You know, the core group that's there during the day. And if they can't make it, then I typically go to the list for additional people to come in and work. Then we have our nighttime crew also that comes in and works. So they're there at the end of the night for about an hour or so that they do all the tallying. So we typically use 44 people out of that list.
Yeah. I was just curious how you selected
Yeah.
individuals to partake in being an election worker.
Right, and it's different in every city and town, obviously, but our workers work all day. You know, they're there from 7 to 7 or 7 to 8, too. That can make for a long day for somebody sitting there, you know?
I
And
was
hopefully
just-
we're busy, so it makes the time go
One
by.
other quick question. Someone just mentioned volunteer. Do they get a stipend for doing this?
They do get
Right.
they do get a small stipend,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
So
All
I
right.
asked that with a
Thank you.
question. if you
Yeah,
volunteered,
yeah. I basically consider them volunteers because that really is it's a very important job. I mean, obviously, we couldn't run the election without them, you know, but they do get a stipend for coming in and working. But it's a very, very important job, keeping track of everybody who comes and votes and, you know, so. Any questions? Any additional questions?
I think- oh, go ahead.
Just, so the absentee ballots are available now?
They are.
And they have to be turned in by,
They have to be turned in by the day of the election.
okay.
Yes. And it is a part, it is a primary, I'm sorry, but it is a primary, so you're going to, if you are an unenrolled voter, you're going to be asked which ballot you want. And we have Democrat ballots, we have Republican ballots, and we have Libertarian ballots. So you do have to pick your party if you are unenrolled and you're not necessarily enrolled in one of those three particular parties.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the annual town census for 2018.
Yes. The Board of Registrars has completed its annual town census for 2018. This year's population that we've calculated is 8476. This figure does represent a decrease of 47 people from last year's total of 8523.
So Haley, just generally, what is the process to count the residents?
To count them?
Yes.
Our annual census that starts in January, and it
Okay.
continues.
Is it, I think it's a mailing?
It is a mailing,
And
yes. We mail our census forms out to everyone, and we ask that you return them so we get an accurate count. This is basically, this number is actually pretty good. I mean, you know, I just give you a little history that we had 100 deaths last year for 2017, and we had 60 births. So we lost roughly 7 individuals that we were able to count, and, you know, we ask that everybody return their census. We do our best to try to find everyone and make sure that they are, you know, updated and they are, you know, are on our census.
Is there follow-up if they do not submit?
Our office does do follow-up.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering what percentage of the mailings that you send out are returned?
I will say when we first started doing the mailing, it was better, but we've only dropped off like 1 or 2%. So I would say we get between 60 and 65% necessarily back. So I don't think that's that bad. We do ask that they either mail them or drop them off here at Town Hall. Or some people have just called us too and said, hey, you know, I misplaced my census form, so, but in that we ask them for their information, we write it down, and then we go and update them, so.
Yeah, it's so important that we get a, you know, as exacting as possible number of people for grant purposes and other things.
Exactly, and we are heading into the 2020 census.
Right.
You know, the federal census that, you know, people are going to start and get inundated with information about that too. So, and again, if you have any questions, give us a call. It's not that we'll be able to answer all your questions, but if we can't, we certainly will try to find the answer for you. But it is very, very important that you answer the census.
Okay, anything else on the board? All right, thank you, Haley.
All right, thank you.
Really?
Next, a request to place a sign on a public way, McKinley Statue Island, for the Agricultural Fair Bowl Field event, August 2nd through the 6th, 2018.
Hi, I'm Wayne Piangi, I'm from the Aggie Fair. The fair's coming up this weekend. We just would like to put a sign on the McKinley Square on the bank side, let people know that it is this weekend, and that's what we're asking. And I hope to see all you down at the fair this weekend. It's going to be huge. We have a rodeo on Saturday. Friday night is a touch a truck, and we're having 6 fire departments there. Saturday is the rodeo, which should be a huge event, and then the demolition derby, which is always big. So,
Great.
thank you very much.
Okay, question, Joe, did you have anything, or?
No.
Okay. Do you mind if I read?
Not at all.
Okay, the Adams Agricultural Fair will be presenting its 44th year of events starting Friday evening, August 3rd. The main feature Friday evening will be the Touch a Truck, which various vehicles that we often don't get a close-up view on in an ordinary day. They will be having the Copsicle Truck for an hour this evening, along with the possibility of the Storm Tracker vehicle from Channel 10 News. Saturday, August 4th, they are open all day with the new event, Double M Pro Rodeo, which you have mentioned, which will be presenting both a competition and entertainment for all ages in the afternoon. There will also be the Aggie Fair Prince and Princess contest for the youngsters to enter. Sunday, August 5th, the big feature will be the Demolition Derby. Arrive early for seats to this event. There are many other events, presentations that you can participate in and enjoy each day. And for more information, the Adams Library has booklets and brochures. You can also view the website, which is at www.adams-agricultural-fair.org or on Facebook. Okay, what is the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the placement of a 24 by 18 plastic sign on the grass at McKinley Monument on Thursday, August 2nd through Monday, August 6th.
Okay, we have a motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Jim. Any discussion?
Yeah, just a couple of items, Wayne. I was outside doing some yard work, and one of the fair members stopped and gave me an update just tonight. I guess the Storm Tracker truck isn't going to be coming.
That's what I've heard, yes.
And that the Copsicle truck will be there for a couple of hours instead of 1 hour. And also during the rodeo, 2 of the fair members will be in the barrels as the bulls are in the arena.
You did hear that, yes.
So
Yeah,
Joe-
so that-
Is Joe one of those volunteers?
If he wants to come down.
No, I'm not involved with the fair anymore. But it's a great event, and I would like as many people come to the fair. Very proud to know that it's the only agricultural fair left in all Berkshire County, and our agricultural roots are such an important part of who we are and what our community is. And it's an opportunity for children to go with their parents to look eye to eye with animals and birds and the like, and see the beautiful exhibit hall and all the makings of a great family outing. So it would be advantageous to go there, and it would also help keep the fair solvent. It's very tough to keep the fair up and running financially, so I just ask everyone, if they have the time, to please stop down to the fair and enjoy what it has to offer.
Thank you, Joe.
I just go one quick thing. While we're talking about the grass at McKinley's, can we send a note to the Steeplecats while we support the team and all, to put a sign up, there's a procedure, and somebody just kind of popped that up there. So,
I noticed that too.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope we see you this weekend.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thanks,
great.
Wayne.
Next, we have facility use request, Run-Through Field, Hoosick Valley Athletics, for September 14th, 2018 to October 23rd, 2018. I believe they have some games, high school games, which is always a great event down there at Run-Through. Let's see, from the athletic director, Molly Mezzawar, girls soccer game, September 14th, and October 23rd, hours of use, 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. Girls soccer games, concession stand, the booster clubs and the Adams Cheshire Regional School District staff will be responsible for the cleanups. We also have the football team, which is September 7th, October 12th. Okay, and one more for possible playoffs, so let's make, well, that'll be a definite, hopefully. The hours are 3:30 to 10 o'clock in the evening, and it's the football games concession stand use, bleacher scoreboard and such. The Booster Club again, and the Adams Cheshire Regional School District staff will ensure that the field has been cleaned up. And we have boys soccer, September 25th and October 10th. 3:30 to 9:30, and the use of the same facility, the bleachers and the concession stand, and they will clean up the area. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the use of Renfrew Field for Hoosick Valley Athletics for girls soccer on September 14th and October 23rd, from 3:30 to 9:30 p.m. For football on September 7th, October 12th, and possibly one more date for playoff to be determined at another time. And those hours would be 3:30 to 10 p.m. And the use for boys soccer on September 25th and October 10th, 3:30 to 9:30 p.m.
Motion by Christine, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jim, any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that at the Parks and Recreation meeting, they went through this, and the Parks Commissioners were all in favor of it.
Okay, good. Rick?
I was just gonna say, this is probably the easiest to read application I've seen.
Agreed.
Okay.
And I had a
See?
question as to whether or not the chief has been contacted, in particular for football, with the large crowds that are usually there for the evening, because I don't see a signature necessary that this has gone through the chief. And I don't know if it would.
The athletic director usually calls ahead of time asking for details.
Okay, so that would be handled separately from this form? Okay.
I've I've never been asked to sign off on a parks request.
Any further questions from the board? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, unanimous. We have another field request for the use of Run-Through Field, Russell Field, and Quality Street Field by the Adams Cheshire Hurricane Youth Football and Cheerleading. And the dates of use are August 20th, 2018 through November 16th. Practices are 5:30 to 8 at Russell Field. Games are at Renfrew, Sundays, and practice and game times can vary. The organization will ensure that the field and concession and everything else that's being used is cleaned up, and they have their insurance identified here, signed off, and we have approval. So Joe, same thing, Parks Commission approved this?
Yes, they did.
Okay, great. What is the board's pleasure?
Make a motion to approve facility use request for Renfrew, Russell, and Quality Street Fields for the Adams Cheshire Hurricane Youth Football and Cheerleading. Dates of August 20th through November 16th of 2018. Yeah, practices 5:30 to 8, games 7:30 to 5:30. But may vary.
Okay, it's pretty much the same as every year. And we have a motion by Rick. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to quickly thank Mark Harrington and Martin Bush and Jeremy Levesque for all the time they give to the kids of this community and surrounding communities. They've been doing it for a long time, and it's people like them that keep the community a friendly and happy place.
Christine?
I'll make just a general comment that it's nice to see the signatures of not only the Parks Commission, but the DPW staff on these facility use request forms. I know that's a change in the form, and so it's nice to see that they've been notified and are part of the process. So thank you for that, Donna.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Unanimous decision. We have another facility use request. This is for the Greylock Glen from Bart Charter School. And this is for October 31st, 2018. And the hours of use, the setup staff will be there in the morning. This is for a cross-country meet. The 2 p.m. start, and everyone will be vacated by 6 o'clock. Bart sets up and cleans up. They have MIA insurance, everything else looks in order. What is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept Bart using the Greylock Glen for a cross-country meet on October 31st, 2018. We set up by 2 staffs in the morning, 2 p.m. start, out by 6 p.m.
Motion made by Jim. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Christine. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Unanimous. And we have one more. Facility use requests, Park Street hijinks, and Marie Belmont. There was an original date that was, that the board approved, was rained out. This is a request for August 20th, 2018. And this will be 6 to 9 in the evening with the street closed at 5 for setup. And let's see, the chief has signed off, has identified the officers required. Insurance, what is the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we accept the use of Park Street for hijinks tonight, August 20th from 8:30 p.m. Where is it now? Where's the time? I lost the time.
6 to 9?
6 to 9 p.m. Set up at 5 p.m. Park Street will be closed at 5 p.m. rather.
We have a motion by Jim. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Rick. Any further discussion?
Just one quick thing, in our agenda, there should be an E after the T, Belmonte. I don't know if it makes a difference, but in the application, it's spelled properly.
Thank you, Joe.
And, Mr. Chairman, I know I mentioned it when this event was in July, but I'd like event organizers to look at the end time for next year's event, especially when we're into the end of August. 9 p.m. gets pretty dark, so it might be nice to end this a little bit earlier in the future. I'm not going to make a big deal about it now, but just, I know it's been typically until 9, but the last couple years, we've had to move the event into August, so.
Please state your name.
Joseph Martin, I am one of the organizers for Hijinks.
Hi, Joseph.
Would you like to respond to?
I didn't hear you.
So I was just inquiring about the end time. So 9 p.m. towards the end of August gets pretty dark. So I'm saying, you know, for future years, it might be something to consider to shorten the time or to have the event. And even if it ended at 8:30, it's still a little bit lighter than 9 p.m.
Okay.
It's just a suggestion.
We thought about moving it earlier.
Okay.
We were thinking about that for next year. Also, we're thinking of moving it to a different area in Adams
Okay.
because we want to make it bigger.
Nice. Okay.
All right, any further questions?
Just a thought,
Yes, sir.
floor please. If you're thinking about an earlier time, if it's on Park Street, you're running into rush hour traffic, which
Right.
is going to create a bigger problem. Just being honest, not fun with it, something to think about, because you've got a higher volume of traffic if you go earlier. That's why closing it off at 5 o'clock has always worked out to be the best.
We're looking at, for next year, we're looking at Mill Street Field. See if we can rent their field, where they have the Polish picnic.
Yep.
Okay, so, but, okay, thank you. This, but we do have, for this upcoming August, 6 to 9, the board, we have a motion
Yeah.
and a second already.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, none, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that is it for new business. Under department reports, the town administrator's report. Donna?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Earlier this week on Tuesday, we held the pre-construction conference for the resurfacing of streets, reconstruction of sidewalks, and related work. This was bid number was 18-009. Representatives of J.H. Maximilian, the low bidder, and the contract was awarded to them. They were present at the meeting. Contract development for this project will continue probably until early next week. Once we receive the required bonds and the certificate of insurance, we'll be able to issue a notice of award and or notice of to proceed. So we expect that to occur prior to August 15th. Even though we're getting a late start on this project, we do believe we'll be able to finish it before the paving companies close, which is usually prior to Thanksgiving. We've had to curtail a little bit on the number of sidewalks and stuff. Part of that is to stretch existing dollars, but I think we'll see a good amount of repaving work done, and we can try to, again, next year to catch up. Today, DPW Foreman Steve Scrocky and I conducted interviews for the two positions, the two current openings within the Department of Public Works. We have an Operator 1 and the skilled laborer positions. We interviewed a total of 8 candidates. I expect to complete reference checks and make decisions later this week or early next. So that will allow time for board ratification of the positions, I hope, at your meeting on August 15th. So it would be good, we look forward to having a full complement of DPW staff. And then finally, I just wanted to tell the board that we have been approached by LC Square. It's a company that they have indicated their intent to cultivate and process adult use cannabis at 173 Howland Avenue. The site has now been secured by the company. They have requested to come before the board at your next meeting on August 15th to basically discuss their plans, and they've indicated a desire to move forward quickly. As you probably know, it's a bit of the Wild West out there. There's a lot of jockeying and companies going forward. I was impressed with the company because one of the principals has already entered into an HCA agreement for retail use in North Adams. And they also have reached out to Mission, Massachusetts, who is also proposing to locate on Howland Avenue. So they are looking to supply these and other businesses in Berkshire County with, cultivation. They have the existing building on the property. There's a typo there. It's 40,000 square feet. They've indicated that they hope to redevelop the property at about 10,000, 15,000 square feet going forward initially. But the other thing I think that's exciting is that, with the new service station, with Mission, Massachusetts, and potentially this building, we're starting to see new investment on Current Highway on the Route 8 corridor. And I think that will be very important for the town in the future. So I look forward to hearing their presentation, and I'm sure the board would like more information, and it should be, again, at your meeting on August 15th.
So Donna, 173 Holland Ave in Adams language, whereabouts is that again?
Old money.
Berkshire Outdoors.
Yes, thank you.
Building, Honor Shield.
Okay,
Our
great,
share,
thank you.
yes.
Now I got it.
Mission is going in Rollins.
So, okay, this is not the selling.
No, this would be
is the
cultivation.
Cultivation, okay, in the process.
So
of-
it's a grow facility, which,
Grow facility.
again, it's a new type of business. Obviously, like retail, it's heavily regulated by the Commonwealth. But I'm encouraged to see interest in the town, so regardless, because it's new business.
Does like we do with the businesses that are going to sell marijuana, the town receives a 3% portion of the profits. There's agreements that can be made that the town can have, make some financial gain out of that. How about a cultivation facility? Are the same rules apply, or can you have agreements with these companies?
There are similar agreements for a portion coming to the town. There has to be a nexus, though, between actual costs that the community actually experiences and the required, up to 3%. I think it was yesterday, the Cannabis Control Commission issued draft guidance to municipalities regarding the 3%. I've heard that some communities, and this is just my opinion, but they're getting quite greedy, asking for new police cruisers, asking for their sidewalks to be, there isn't that relationship between the actual extra costs you may incur and, what you're asking, from the company. Certainly, we do, like any community, you receive the 3% tax for retail. I mean, that's just a tax that will come on I think it's on their sales, and that is handled by the Department of Revenue. So those checks will come from the Department of Revenue to the town of Adams. So, but the 3% impact fee, that's a little bit different, and I think in the MMA, the Beacon, you started to, you were seeing where one of the legislators was saying that some municipalities are really beginning to abuse this. So like any new provision, any new program, there's going to be kind of pushback. So hopefully the guidance, which I have not read, I do have a copy of it. it, and I will read it, but we'll get more clarification. I have been working on a draft HCA with Mission, Massachusetts. That's something that I anticipate bringing to the board soon. Yes, we have two interested parties, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay, so we will listen to them when they attend the meeting. Any questions on Donna's report?
Yeah, I just have a question about the marijuana facility. I'm a little disappointed because I felt we were kind of on the cutting edge of, getting somebody like one of the first, but, you read the paper and there's, towns now ahead of us. I think it's probably the lease agreement that's probably holding up, the use of Ronnie's building.
No, they have entered into a lease agreement.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So, and I have been working with them on the host community agreement.
Right, because you notice every day in the newspaper that, in Berkshire County, towns have been giving permission already and things, and we were one of the first, I think, in Berkshire County to bring, this to the forefront, and it seems like people have been passing us and getting ahead of us.
Well, I wouldn't characterize it that way. We were one of the first that didn't basically approve a moratorium. Instead, we went forward with a bylaw. But keep in mind, if you didn't pass a bylaw, then it would be permitted. So I think again, it's just, there's a lot of activity in the paper. You read about a lot, but don't for a minute think that they're necessarily farther ahead than the one business that we've been talking to. I mean, certainly in Pittsfield, I think in Williamstown, they've had they've gone forward with things, but a lot of it is just recently activity, so.
So, in short, there has been agreement with Mission, Massachusetts, with Ronnie for
That's
the
my
use of the
understanding
building. Okay.
from the company, that they have executed their lease agreement. So they have a site control of that property, yes.
Yeah, because I'm worried, depending how much each bylaws in each community, that there's going to be a saturation point where, is it really worthwhile to bring somebody in when you have, such a number in a small area? But I guess that's up to the consumer.
It's in a way kind of equivalent to the California Gold Rush.
Right.
Yeah.
And, if I may add, and Donna, you can correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding of this, but the Cannabis Commission does have on their website kind of a status update of all of the companies that have submitted their applications to the state. And in some cases, applications are ahead, but it's not anything to do with the municipality. It has been about the company and where they are in that process. So I've been watching those that are talking to other municipalities and seeing where they are in the process, and Mission, Massachusetts looks like it's still ahead of some of those others. It's updated at the end of every month, so you can go and see kind of where all of these organizations are in the state application and approval process.
The other thing to point out in terms of Mission, and I think they explained this, but they are already in the state system because they have been a medical marijuana business, which I believe the Cannabis Control Commission said that they were going to give a priority to existing medical marijuana businesses. So they do have some direct experience, and also with this LC Squared, they have principals in their business that have a lot of experience in the medical marijuana field as well. So,
Just out of curiosity, where are they situated? Where their headquarters is? LC Square?
Eastern Massachusetts, I believe it's Newton.
So I would request that the board do some research in a marijuana cultivation facility. And Don, if you have anything you could provide to us prior to the meeting, because this is a little bit different than what we've been, something new to the board, so just make sure we're all educated. Okay, anything else for Donna on her report? All right, thank you. The town council report, nothing for this evening. Subcommittee and liaison reports. Rick?
Nothing.
Christine?
Last week, I attended the BRTA Advisory Committee meeting. I think it was last Thursday, and represented the town of Adams at that meeting. It's important that we keep our seat at that table and that we make sure that we are in attendance, as that does affect a lot of our residents when they're talking about bus routes and kind of what services will be provided. I think it's been widely reported really what that meeting was about, and previous to that meeting, there was a lot of discussion with that advisory group about services that could be cut if the budget wasn't level funded for the BRTA. And so they went through a few different scenarios. The RTA is going to be level funded. However, that advisory group moved forward with eliminating services, one actual bus route in South County that is being serviced by another route and had the least ridership, in exchange for running a pilot this year of some evening service and finding some areas in the county that have a little bit more dense population when it comes to jobs in the evening and getting people to and from work. So that's something that would be piloted, and I think it may have been missed in some headlines that group moved to continue to cut the service on the one bus line to use that money to pilot a different program. Our board doesn't have a dedicated representative to that advisory group. It is still an appointment that we need to make, so I respectfully ask the chairman if we can put this on our August 15th agenda. It is a monthly meeting, typically I think the third Thursday at 4 p.m. Might be the fourth Thursday at 4 p.m. if somebody's interested in serving in a more formal way for the duration of the year. I would ask that they contact the chairman.
Okay, so the next meeting, we'll hopefully identify someone to represent the town of Adams on that board.
Yes.
Okay, Joe?
I didn't attend anything, but I'd like to ask Christine, being on the Adams Cheshire Regional School District, our liaison, I talked to Donna today. What's going on with the process to refix that chimney and to do the floor over in the cafeteria? Because, you know, it's getting near school time and it just doesn't appear that anything's been happening over there.
We met at the end of June with the superintendent, business manager, school principal, and the chair of the maintenance committee for the school committee to review the priorities that the elementary school had indicated would be their priorities. We are waiting for a little bit more information from the school. We did ask that we could move quickly on some projects, but we have not necessarily heard back. Donna and I are going to meet with the chair of the maintenance committee next week to see where we are with those projects. I did reach out to the superintendent last week, who indicated there was some work done on the electrical load for possible air conditioning units for the third floor. And I'm trying to think, I think there was something else about
Drinking fountains.
the drinking fountains. And was there something for outside? Did they start any of that drainage work? But they had identified the cafeteria floor, as you had mentioned, but we didn't hear anything else on that. So that's one of the items that Donna and I need to inquire more
Right,
about.
because August 10th is the final day that
Correct.
there's free meals for the children, and they're going to need to get, you know, on it right away if it's going to be finished before school, and it's badly in need of a new floor in there. It really looks unsightly and grungy, you know, and it's make the cafeteria more
Right.
friendly, excuse me, an inviting place. So I just didn't know what was going on and where we stood with that.
Yeah, so we have had a meeting, as I mentioned, and it was really to look at, you know, how would we best spend the $235,000 in that maintenance budget that we set aside, and taking into consideration their priorities as they have identified it, but as well as the town's priorities for that building. And so we we're trying to sort through all of that, but
Yeah, because, I
we're trying to
mean,
stay on top of it.
certainly have to get that chimney, because that's a real safety concern. I mean, that's something that needs to be done, because it presents a hazard.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was, already in the works and it was gonna happen, but it hasn't.
I'll have to, I don't know if I can comment on the
Yeah, that's
chimney, because
okay.
I'm
No,
not
it's
remembering
certainly
that
nothing,
conversation all
I
that well.
just would like to see.
No, it was just something that the former superintendent was addressing,
Right.
but I don't know if the work has been done either, so we'll have to, we can
Yeah.
certainly ask that question. And
Okay.
I just want the board to realize, though, that, there may not be the time to go through proper procurement, depending on the size of the project, in advance of when school starts. So that's what we're kind of faced with. Certainly, we can, look at other times the school is closed during Christmas vacation or something, or it might have to be a larger project that is done at the beginning of next summer vacation. And I know, but unfortunately, we're caught in that bind where we have to comply with procurement. So right now, we don't have enough information, but I just wanted to share that with the board, that we're kind of having to go forward with that in mind as well.
Okay.
Okay. Jim?
Last week I attended the Adams Council on Aging meeting. There was a lot of discussion on trips coming up, picnics coming up. I believe there's one in Williamstown. They actually have a lot of things going on, and seniors in this town should really be taking advantage of what they're being offered. It just it's posted in the paper, everything that's going on, and I think it's really worthwhile for them to look into. The other one, I went to the Traffic Commission meeting yesterday, and there was an issue with parking on Phillips Hill with Mullen Moving Company. That was resolved. The chief will be sending a letter to the board. It was yesterday, so he didn't have time to get it up, but we will receive a letter on that resolution. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Announcements and good of the order. Rick?
Nothing.
Christine?
I have two things. I wanted to thank the organizers of MagicCon. I thought it was a great weekend up at the Glen. Weather cooperated. It was a little iffy for Sunday. But what was remarkable about that event was that the attendees were mostly from outside of Adams, from out of state, from other parts of the county, and other parts of the state. So it is an event that is attracting visitors to our community, and I think it's been a really great event that we can continue to run. And then I just wanted to mention that the Adams Ale House is having a grand reopening next Tuesday, August 7th. It is the same date is the National Night Out that Officer Honorato spoke about, but you can actually attend both since they are down the street from one another. So 5 o'clock, you can start at National Night Out, make your way down the block for a 5:30 grand reopening celebration, and have all of your fun on Hoosick Street Tuesday, August 7th.
Good, Joe?
Yeah, I'd just like to bring up a few points. One of them being the environmental bond bill that I believe, I'm not sure if the governor signed it, but I guess we were awarded some money for the Glen. And also from the Community Block Grant, we were awarded $550,000 for use of, to go toward revamping the Memorial School. And I'd like to thank Donna so much for all she does, because this community is running, we're part of it, a big part, the Selectmen, but it's because of someone like Donna with her expertise for grant writing and getting grants that we're able to, forge ahead during times, and they're very competitive. So in short, once again, I want to thank you, Donna, for what you do for this community.
You're very welcome.
Yep. And secondly, I had a short talk with Donna, and I think with our seasonal employees for DPW, a lot of the time is being spent on the flood control chutes, trying to weed whack them, and I would like to have some type of a conversation with the Army Corps of Engineers to see where they stand, you know, because I can see the cement, you know, chutes, if there's trees growing next to them, it could disturb the walls, but on the riprapping, you know, they're down there, you know, for hours and days and weeks, just weed whacking, you know, vegetation off of a riprapping. And a lot of those plants that are there now are wetland species because, you know, the water comes up to a certain point. And to me, it seems like it's a waste of a lot of our seasonal employees doing that. So I'd like, you know, somehow to meet with the Army Corps of Engineers. I know there's a lot of bureaus. There's having to do with, you know, construction and plants and all that, but just to see what their thoughts were about, you know, not having to do that yearly. I don't see anything unless, you know, hard hack starts to grow and, you know, be selective, but it's just a lot of the time where, you know, in our community, there's so many things that need to be done that, you know, I could see, and it's not to blame the employees because they have so much to do, but it just appears to me that that's just so much time taken away from other projects in this community. And the more we acquire and that we have to take care of, it becomes a daunting task.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really excellent idea. I'm not sure where it would lead, but, you know, as we've talked, maybe there's a wildflower mix or something. The important point, as we discussed, is to eliminate woody vegetation, because that can undermine the control structures. But I agree, it's a lot of time, it's not particularly interesting work, and I'm sure that there has to be a better, that's more, a solution that's more environmentally sensitive. So I think it would be worthwhile to search for that. If I may, I just wanted to make one comment on the bond. We were not awarded, unlike the grant, the CDBG grant, we indeed were awarded that funds, $550,000 in the CDBG. With an environmental bond and the economic development bond, we have a line item in that bond for our project. We still have quite a bit of work to do because we will be in competition with state agencies that also have line items in that bond. So to get those funds released will be very important to keep that dialogue with our legislators, but we have to thank them for the terrific job that they've done this session for us. So thank you.
Agree. And is the board good with Joe reaching out to the Army Corps of Engineers?
Well, I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Work with Donna?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Joe. Jim?
I attended a luncheon at the senior center. Wasn't, it's more of a question and answer period with all the seniors that go there for lunch. I will be attending another one, I believe it's August 16th. I go there, I get there about 10:30 in the morning, I stay till probably 1 o'clock in the afternoon, field any questions, concerns, or just sit and talk with them.
Thank you. So Rick, we're going to be setting up a memorial school subcommittee meeting soon to go over the grant that we recently were approved for with Donna, and then we will report back to the board. The transfer station, the brush, yes, you can bring your brush up to the transfer station. The town did make a statement that is true. There was just a miscommunication. The best way to ask your questions is not through Facebook. The best way is to contact Town Hall. You'll get an answer right away, and you'd be good to go. So yes, we do continue to accept brush. We work with the Northern Berkshire
Solid Waste
District, and they will be, you know, every so often they come to the board. They do recommend some updates or a better, more efficient ways of running the facility, and we expect to hear from them soon, but as of now, brush is allowed. Brush does take time. We have to put that through a chipper by hand, so if there's a lot, it does take time. It's a manual type of labor, but we still do it, so.
Mr. Chairman, if I can
Yes.
interject, I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted the board to know, I didn't mention this in the administrator's report, but we are working on signage, getting some signage up there to better direct our residents, to inform them what materials can go in each bin. And then we're trying to look at something that, that they can take home, either a refrigerator magnet or maybe something that's laminated that they can keep, and it's a reminder that they can use at home to better communicate what can and cannot be addressed up at the transfer station. So we've had a kind of a slow rollout of the transfer station. Some of that is due to staff shortages, but we are mindful that this needs to be better communicated. So we ask for the public's patience in getting there.
Okay, thank you. We've also discussed having the transfer station opened in one evening a week. And
Yes.
that will be something that we will be speaking with the solid waste, committee, board, when they come to meet with us with recommendations, so that's coming up soon. I know a lot of people have approached me, and I agree. I'd like to be able to go up there one evening a week. So we'll be discussing that in the near future. The last thing I have is the solar field on the old landfill. I think, Joe, you've also brought this up, that if you go by there, there's weeds growing. There were weeds growing up past the solar panels themselves. There is I called a gentleman from California, and he hired a contractor to remove the weeds. And as they were doing so, they ran into some nasty poisonous weeds, I believe, and they had to stop for a while. But I believe they're back at it, because I went by Saturday, and there has been much more weeds that have been removed. So as they continue through, but we're on it, and we don't want to lose a penny to the sun. So we'll work that to completion. Subcommittee meeting next week. Possible workshop, I mean, sorry.
It's the board's pleasure. I don't, at this point, you had mentioned the ad hoc solid waste. We have not been able to schedule a meeting because of some people, have been ill and unable to attend, some key people, but I don't know if there's other issues that the board would like to address during a workshop.
If you want to, just send Don and myself an email, and we'll definitely work to get that as an agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
before we close, since we were on the transfer station, I was just wondering, how has participation been as far as people signing up? Because there was some concern by board members with the increase in the price that it might slow people down from
Well, I believe we were close to 600, and we're not there yet. I think it's more of a, I believe it's around 400, or, I am meeting with the treasurer collector tomorrow, so I can better ask her, how participation has been. I think there's been some confusing. Yes, we raised the price, but people need to keep in mind that it was really only a half a year before. When you look at surrounding communities, we're still quite the bargain, both in terms of the purchase of the bags, but certainly for the annual fee. So we need to improve, the level of service and communication about how you use the transfer station, but I think the town is offering a very good product to its residents.
And lastly, I received an email from John about the hogweed that they came across.
Mm-hmm.
That's, as you've mentioned, it's very dangerous, and I made mention to Donna to contact the state department that oversee invasive plants. They want to know where that's growing, and as far as I know, there hasn't been any found up in northern Berkshire County, so it's something that it's very dangerous, and and it grows and it spreads quickly.
Right, it's very difficult to eradicate once it finds its location. I mean, we've experienced that at the visitor center with the knotweed there.
Right, yeah,
That's part of our parking lot project is, once again, to try to eradicate that around Hoxsey Brook, so,
Yeah, it's all over town, that knotweed. It's very, very bad.
yep.
Okay, anything else from the board? Hearing none, motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn?
Made by Rick, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Jim, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.